The Starlight Drive-In had stood on the old county road since 1953. At 3:17 on a Thursday, it came down.
Finally, that rural blight is gone.
The screen tower folded inward with a groan, steel twisting, facing raining down. When the dust settled, a metal sign on the wreckage read, FCC Emergency Alert Tower. Christine's smile vanished. She stared at the sign, her mind finally catching up. The sign meant this tower was a protected federal communications infrastructure. 20 miles away, the Emergency Operations Center went blind. 3 counties lost tornado warning coverage. That night, the sky turned a sick green. A tornado touched down, no sirens, no alerts. Homes were folded inside out. 2 people, a mother and her daughter, never got the warning. The broadcast blamed a single failure, the Starlight Tower that someone had ordered demolished. The destruction began long before the storm. A year earlier, the Starlight was a quiet landmark, run by a man who loved old film reels.
This place was my grandfather's dream. Every bolt in that screen tower, he turned himself.
A quarter-mile east, a new subdivision called Ridgeline Estates had risen, its HOA chair a woman who despised rural reminders.
That drive-in is a dirt magnet. It lowers property values and attracts teenagers. We need it declared a nuisance.
It's a registered historic landmark, Christine. Families have come here for 70 years. I'm not selling.
Sentiment won't pay our taxes. Ridgeline brings in real revenue, and we won't tolerate a rundown relic at our border.
Rundown relic. She has no idea what this tower really is.
Over months, Christine filed complaints with the county. Noise, traffic, unsafe structure. Each one was dismissed.
He thinks he's untouchable, but there's more than one way to clear a blight.
She began asking about demolition permits, quietly, off the record. In late summer, Larry Donovan won a Film Preservation Award and had to travel out of state to accept it.
Grandpa would have hated all this fuss, but he'd be proud.
While he was gone, Christine moved fast. She found a crew willing to bypass permits for cash.
It's an abandoned structure, just bring it down. No one's going to miss a rusty old screen.
She handed over a thick envelope. The foreman counted the bills and nodded. At dawn 3 days later, the crew rolled onto the Starlight property with an excavator and 2 flatbeds. Larry was 3 states away, sipping coffee at a hotel banquet, unaware his family legacy was about to fall.
By the time he gets back, there won't be anything left to fight over.
The crew chief pointed at the screen tower and shouted to his men. "Take it down clean," he said. "We're on a tight schedule." The excavator claw bit into the base. Steel screamed and the screen tower buckled, folding forward in one violent motion. As the dust cleared, a bent metal sign hung from a surviving beam, its letters barely legible through the grime.
What is that? It wasn't in the property records. FCC Emergency Alert Tower. That can't be right. It was just an old movie screen.
Within minutes, sheriff deputies arrived. Behind them, a black SUV with federal plates and an FCC agent who didn't smile.
Who ordered this demolition? This tower is a federally protected EAS broadcast point. You just disabled a 3-county alert system.
20 miles away, the Emergency Operations Center saw their master console blink out. Every alarm went silent. A technician stared at the flatline display. Outside, the afternoon sky was turning a bruised purple. The National Weather Service had just issued a tornado watch. 3 counties, 0 warning capability. By nightfall, that watch would turn into a warning nobody would hear. That night, the sky turned green-black. Without the EAS tower, no tornado sirens wailed. The only sound was the wind shifting, then a freight train roar as the funnel touched down. It skipped across Route 9 and hit a cluster of farmhouses. 2 families never heard it coming. By sunrise, rescue crews pulled bodies from the wreckage, a mother and her 12-year-old daughter. The local news called it the silent tornado. The banner read, "Alert system depleted, 2 dead." Larry Donovan drove into town that afternoon, still in his banquet suit. He saw what was left of the Starlight.
My God. They tore it down. 2 people are dead because someone wanted the blight gone.
A deputy told him about the FCC sign, the agents, and the storm. He went pale. The Garza family lost a mother and daughter. Makeshift memorials lined the debris field on Route 9.
We traced the order back to your HOA. Christine Hartley is under federal investigation.
By morning, the FCC and state police had cordoned off the wreckage as a federal crime scene.
Mrs. Hartley, you demolished a federally protected EAS tower. 2 people are dead because of it.
I had no idea it was federal. The county records showed nothing. This is a terrible accident.
The demolition foreman testified she had told them the tower was abandoned and worthless.
Your own crew said you told them it was abandoned. That's a federal crime, Mrs. Hartley.
2 people died because she tore down my grandfather's tower. A child is gone.
At the Route 9 memorial, a grieving father arrived, clutching a photograph of his daughter.
My wife and daughter are dead. I want to face the person who ordered the demolition.
Larry found him there at dusk, standing among the flowers and candles.
We both lost something, Mr. Donovan. Help me make sure she never does this again.
The FCC investigation unearthed a 1953 contract. The Starlight Tower had served as a primary EAS node since the Cold War.
This tower was built with federal funds and maintained under a perpetual agreement. Destroying it is a federal offense.
A contract from 1953? How was I supposed to know?
The demolition foreman gave a sworn statement. Christine Hartley paid him under the table and said the structure was abandoned.
He's lying. I gave him a standard job. I never said abandoned.
The HOA board held an emergency session and voted to fully cooperate with federal investigators, stripping Christine of her chair position. 24 hours later, the U.S. attorney filed charges: destruction of federal communications infrastructure, criminal negligence resulting in death.
Christine Hartley, you are charged with 2 federal felonies carrying a combined sentence of up to 20 years.
This can't be happening over a drive-in?
Justice starts today, Tom, but it won't bring them back.
Tom Garza filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Christine Hartley and the Ridgeline Estates HOA, naming Larry Donovan as a witness.
My daughter will have justice. Your negligence stole her future.
Christine's defense team argued the tower's federal status was buried in inaccessible archives, making her demolition a tragic mistake.
They can't prove I knew. The county didn't even list it.
Amid the filings, journalist Dana Powell found Larry at the wreckage, asking about the drive-in's deeper history.
Mr. Donovan, I cover community history. Why was this drive-in so important to your family?
It's more than a theater. My grandfather built it for a reason he never fully explained.
He pulled a faded photograph from his glove compartment, a young man standing beside the original tower in 1953.
He always said the tower had to be tall enough. I never asked why.
Dana noted the cryptic comment. That night, she searched old county archives for a 1949 storm. Dana Powell found the drive-in's original construction permits from 1953. The tower height was listed at 120 feet, unusually tall for a screen.
A screen doesn't need to be this high, unless it was built for something else entirely.
She asked Larry to meet again, this time at a quiet diner, and slid the permit across the table.
Grandpa always said the tower had to be tall enough to reach across the valley. I thought he meant the signal for the speakers.
Larry took out his phone, scrolling to an old black and white picture of Arthur Donovan.
He moved here out of nowhere, bought the land with cash he'd saved for years, never talked about where he came from.
Donna noticed the date on the photo matched the year a catastrophic tornado struck a town 3 states away.
Mr. Donovan, I think your grandfather was running from something, and that something is why he built so high.
Running from or toward?
She left him with a clipping. The pieces were there, but the full truth remained locked in a fragile newsprint from 1949. The next morning, Dana Powell placed a faded printout on Larry's kitchen table. It was a 1949 front page.
I found it. A tornado wiped out a family of 4. Arthur Donovan's family.
Larry stared at the names. His grandfather's first wife, 2 small children, all killed with no warning.
He never told me. All those years he carried this alone.
The article detailed how Arthur survived because he was working in the fields, saw the funnel, but couldn't reach them in time.
He moved here and built the tower tall enough so that no one would ever be caught off guard again.
The alert system. It was his penance. His way of protecting everyone else.
Larry wept. The drive-in wasn't just nostalgia, it was a silent vigil.
And she destroyed it. 2 more people died because she thought it was blight.
Dana reached for her notepad. The story wasn't over. It was just beginning. 3 days later, the County Gazette ran Dana Powell's story on the front page, The Tower That Saved Lives.
People need to know what was really lost.
The article laid bare Arthur Donovan's sacrifice, how his first family died in a 1949 twister, and how he built the Starlight Tower as a secret early warning antenna. Larry saw the addition on his porch step. His grandfather's face stared back from the front page.
Everyone will know now he didn't just build a drive-in, he built a shield.
At the wreckage, neighbors left flowers. The narrative shifted. Christine Hartley hadn't just demolished a screen, she'd desecrated a memorial. Christine's remaining allies in the HOA fell silent. Donations to her legal fund dried up.
He gave his pain a purpose. What have I done but let it crumble?
Larry stood alone in the drive-in lot at dawn. The silence of the fallen tower pressed into his chest.
I'll rebuild it. Stronger. And this time everyone will know why it stands.
That afternoon, Larry found Tom Garza at the roadside memorial, kneeling to replace wilted flowers.
Tom, I can't bring them back, but I can make sure their loss means something.
Meaning? My daughter is gone. How can a pile of twisted steel mean anything?
I'm rebuilding the drive-in, but I'm not doing it alone. I want your family to own it with me.
Own it? Why would you offer that to me?
Because my grandfather built this place after losing his whole family to a tornado. He made it a warning system. You should be part of that legacy.
He lost everyone too, and still built something for others.
They sat at a nearby coffee shop, and Larry sketched a simple tower with a memorial plaque at its base.
If it saves even one family from my hell, I'm in.
They shook hands, and for the first time, the rebuild became more than a promise. It became a shared covenant. The grand jury returned a federal indictment for destruction of communications infrastructure, plus state charges of criminal negligence causing death.
They froze my assets, everything, my accounts, the equity, even the Range Rover overnight.
A tow truck hauled her white Range Rover from the Ridgeline Estates driveway. A for sale sign appeared on the lawn.
This is real. Prison, ruin, over a piece of rural blight.
The HOA board, under new leadership, voted to cooperate fully with prosecutors and settle the wrongful death lawsuit. Ridgeline Estates formally condemns and disavows the actions of its former chair, the resolution read.
The state is seeking the maximum. Her attorney hinted at a plea, but the victims' families want a trial.
A plea? For what? I didn't know about the tower. It was an accident.
The judge set a trial date 6 weeks out and denied any reduction in bail conditions. Christine sat alone in her half-empty house, staring at the bare walls where her awards used to hang, only the shredder hum left. A week before trial, Christine's attorney called Larry with a settlement offer.
Drop my testimony? In exchange for her paying the rebuild? No. She doesn't get to buy her way out of this.
He ended the call. Tom Garza, sitting across from him, nodded without a word.
He refused. Fine. Then I'll use the law.
Christine filed an emergency injunction to block the rebuild, citing supposed zoning violations. The HOA board convened an emergency session. Her motion was the first item on the agenda. After 20 minutes of discussion, the board voted 7-0 to deny the injunction and fully support the drive-in project. This board will not be used to obstruct community healing, the new chair's resolution stated. Christine stared at the notification on her phone. Every door was closing. Larry got the call from the HOA. The rebuild was legally cleared. On a crisp autumn morning, the first shovel broke ground at the Starlight site.
The new tower will be 20 feet taller. The FCC is integrating the latest digital alert system.
Volunteers arrived by the dozen neighbors from Ridgeline, farmers, even the high school football team.
This plaque will have their names, Maria and Elena Garza, and Arthur Donovan's first family.
Cranes lifted steel beams. The skeleton of the new screen tower rose against the October sky. Larry and Tom reviewed plans every evening, marking each completed phase on a calendar pinned to the concession stand wall.
Grandpa would stand here and see that his pain finally built something stronger than grief.
On weekends, kids carried lumber scraps, while parents served coffee from a makeshift tent. The project had become a town's heartbeat.
Every bolt we drive is for them, for all of us.
By week's end, the tower's frame was half complete, and the first of the new speaker poles stood like sentinels in the dusk. Behind the scenes, a small group of Christine's loyalists revived an old fear. The drive-in would depress property values.
They're pushing it hard on the Ridgeline community page. Same playbook she used.
Then we hold an open meeting. Let them say it in front of everyone.
The community center filled to capacity within 20 minutes of the doors opening.
Some of you are worried about your home values. I understand that fear, but this drive-in isn't blight. It's a shield.
My wife and daughter died because that shield was destroyed. We're rebuilding to make sure it never fails again.
The crowd erupted in applause. Dozens rose to their feet. A single dissenter tried to argue, but his voice was swallowed by cheers. By a near-unanimous show of hands, the hall endorsed the drive-in rebuild.
That's the only vote that matters.
After the vote, Larry stepped back to the microphone, his voice quieter than before.
My grandfather lost his first family in a tornado. He built this tower so no one else would suffer that. I never understood until now. The new Starlight won't just play movies. It'll broadcast emergency alerts, and the Garzas will own it with me.
Tom Garza stepped forward, taking the microphone with trembling hands.
My Maria and Elena should be here. But if this tower saves one child from a storm, their deaths won't be for nothing.
A silence hung. Then a single clap grew into a standing ovation that shook the room. By evening's end, a donation jar set on the stage held over $8,000 in cash and checks. A contractor pledged materials at cost. A roofer volunteered his crew. A teen handed over his summer job savings.
Thank you. We'll build it for them.
The trial loomed, but the tower was no longer just a memory. It was a promise. The trial of Christine Hartley began under heavy media attention. The courtroom was packed.
Exhibit A, the 1953 contract. This tower was not just a screen. It was a federally maintained emergency node.
I never saw that contract. Nobody told me. I thought it was just an old screen.
The demolition foreman took the stand and testified Christine had told him the structure was abandoned. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty on both counts: destruction of federal communications infrastructure and criminal negligence causing death.
Guilty for a drive-in. My life is over.
The judge sentenced her to 5 years in federal prison and full restitution to the families. Bailiffs handcuffed Christine and led her out. Tom Garza watched, his hands clenched.
It won't bring them back, but at least she'll never hurt another family.
Months after the trial, the new Starlight Drive-In was finished. The tower rose 120 feet, its FCC beacon solid.
We did it, Tom. The beacon is live. 3 counties are covered again.
Their names won't be forgotten. That's what mattered to me.
My grandfather's first family is there too. He never spoke their names, but now they're part of this.
This drive-in isn't just a theater anymore. It's a promise kept.
The marquee read, "Grand reopening, tonight, tribute to the fallen." Larry, Tom, and Dana stood together in the empty lot, the tower's shadow stretching toward the road.
Grandpa would stand right here and smile. The pain finally meant something.
An FCC agent had conducted the final inspection that morning. The emergency alert test signal pulsed cleanly across the valley. Tonight, the screen would light up for the first time since Christine brought it down. As dusk fell, cars lined up beneath the glowing marquee. The starlight was alive again.
Before the film, we have something to show you. The tower's emergency beacon will demonstrate a test alert.
The screen flickered and a red beacon pulsed atop the tower as the EAS test tone echoed across the field. The audience, once victims of silence, now heard the sound that would save them.
They would have heard this. Maria and Elena would have had time.
He and his wife walked to the memorial plaque and placed fresh lilies beside the names. In the projection booth, Larry threaded the first reel of a classic Western, his grandfather's photo watched from his pocket. The screen lit up, and the first galloping frames of the Old West flickered under the stars. A cheer rose from the cars, and the sound mingled with the distant chirp of crickets. The Starlight Drive-In was back, and this time, the warning would always come first. Long after the last car pulled out, Larry remained in his truck at the back of the lot, watching the credits roll.
It's done, Grandpa. They'll hear it now.
He pulled out his phone and stared at the old photograph of Arthur Donovan.
I'll make sure it never falls again.
The camera pulled back, revealing the drive-in under a canopy of stars. Below the screen, the memorial plaque glowed in the moonlight, fresh lilies still bright. Atop the tower, the red emergency beacon blinked steadily across the valley. The starlight was more than a theater now. It was a sentinel. In the distance, the town lights of Ridgeline twinkled, unaware of the quiet promise that now stood watch over them all. And somewhere, Arthur Donovan's pain had finally found its peace. The Starlight Drive-In remained a community treasure, its new tower a quiet guardian over the valley. When the next tornado watch came, the beacon fired perfectly, and for the first time, every siren wailed. Families still visit the memorial, placing fresh flowers for those who were lost and for the man who refused to forget. Arthur Donovan's sacrifice lived on in every red pulse that cut through the dark. The tower became a symbol not just of warning, but of how pain, when given purpose, can protect generations. At twilight, the drive-in stood quiet, the screen dark, but the beacon steady. It was no longer just a theater. It was a promise kept, a promise that no storm would ever again steal a family without a voice to warn them. And that promise would never be demolished again.